You did record, didn't you?
No, I hit stream.
All right, cool. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Haroon, otherwise known as Harunistic5 on Reddit. With me today are Adam, otherwise known as Shweet44722, as well as James, otherwise known as Paul-McCartney-. Welcome to our lovely podcast yet again, Oil Drop Podcast number 46. EA $80 roster upgrade. Of course, we'll be briefly talking about the new and putrid NHL 18 game that's released. You haven't seen from us in about a month and a half, so just a quick recap. We've just been enjoying the offseason, and we'll be back to our usual bi-weekly podcast, plus or minus whatever changes that may happen. We still haven't figured that out for ourselves yet, but we will update you once we know. Do you guys have anything to add on that, or do you want me to go right into Draisaitl's contract?
No, let's just go into it, man.
Cool.
No point in beating around the bush.
Yeah. Draisaitl's contract is 8.5 by 8 years, and that totals up to, oh god, I can't do the math. What's the total? 68 million over 8 years. So that's a cap. That's the cap hit. It also features, I believe, a no movement clause. And also, I have an update, and this is sort of cap-friendly, communicating with people on the Edmonton Oilers subreddit. Just with an existing contract, the Russell contract is first 2 years is not a simple contract as we thought. It is a no movement clause. So he can't be traded or sent to the minors at that time. That is confirmed. So that's something to watch out for. Anyway, coming back to the Draisaitl contract, what are your thoughts, James?
It was like the very upper echelons of what I would have found acceptable. I mean, 8.5 is it's a lot of money, obviously, and the pressure's on him to perform now. With the contract itself, I was hoping for something in the sevens. I think in hindsight, that was a little bit delusional. I thought a good comparable to him was Tarasenko, who's at 7.5, but yeah, I don't know. That's inflation. That's, what are you going to do? Yeah. I'm okay with it. I'm not stoked, though.
Adam?
Yeah, I'm along the same line. It's kind of the thing where I was hoping for less, but anticipating more. Realistically, we overpaid, but at the same time, McDavid set a new benchmark for contracts. Draisaitl's on the same team. These two are going to lead contract discussions for the next 10 years. Well, this new CBA will be discussed the next couple of years. This will be a big focal point. These two contracts will be the benchmark for superstars. So, yeah, it sucks. Inflation will help a little bit. It's a bit higher than we wanted. But the general consensus is pay a bit more and hopefully he lives up to it. And if it doesn't, then hopefully this is the same standard, becomes the standard around the league kind of thing. So it doesn't hurt us bad, at least. Mentioning Chris Russell, though, I'm okay with the first 2 years being NMC NDC because originally we thought of the last 2 years had the no movement clause, which I was more upset about. If you're going to overpay a defenseman who is bottom 4, maybe bottom 2 by the end of the contract, I'd much rather be able to move in the last 2 years than the first 2.
Okay. See, an 8-year contract for me with Draisaitl was the wrong thing to do. It's not a good contract situation because we've effectively tied $21 million into 2 players for the next 8 years, along with 12.5 after that for 1 year with McDavid. Obviously, we know that the cap's going to go up. That always happens. The minimum requirement for the cap to go up, according to the last CBA, is $2 million a year. But the thing is, over the last 5 years, the cap's gone up over the last, I believe it is 3 or 4 years, the cap's only gone up like $6.8 million. Last 4 years, excuse me. It's not great economically. And considering the general like growth curves and whatnot, it's very unlikely for the cap to go up to the same level that it did, say, when Crosby's contract, the first one, mind you, and Malkin's contracts and so on were signed. So just based on that, the fact that we committed perhaps $1 million more than we needed to into Draisaitl's contract seems unjustified to me, especially when we don't know yet whether or not Draisaitl can run his own line. We essentially signed him to $68 million, and then we're going, okay, we're making him the second line center. That seems like absolutely the worst move to make. And when you add in the fact that every one of Draisaitl's good seasons, he's played with a superstar in some capacity, you know, it's not to take anything away from Draisaitl because he's got the capacity to play to the level of those players, but undeniably his numbers, you know, I question how inflated they are by it, because obviously we can bring up the fact that, you know, he's paid X amount, but, you know, he deserves every amount that he's paid because he you know, came in top 10 in scoring. He has a fairly high points per game. He's hit 50 points before this. Mind you, that was when he was playing with Taylor Hall. So I question in terms of how all of that comes together. Fortunately, the cap going up and the fact that, you know, I see teams like Chicago still manage to come below the cap, it's good, but it also puts a lot of pressure because in the next 2 years, we need to win the cup or get to the Stanley Cup finals, because it's very unlikely for us to get there, obviously because we need a full NHL team in the next, I don't know, like...
Ideally, they win this year, because I will bet you just about anything that Nuge is gone next summer.
Yes.
So that's our third line center gone. McDavid's contract kicks in.
We also have to sign Strome, Nurse, Benning, Maroon. Who else is there?
Talbot has 2 years left, I think. Talbot has 2 years left.
2 years left. Yeah, you're right. 2 years. Along with a handful other lower level players, and when I say lower level, I mean they're on sweetheart type RFA deals.
Tyra need a new one. Letestu will need a new one.
And Letestu should be re-signed, in my opinion. He's like a weird kind of player.
To me, what this says, this faith that Chiarelli's put in the contracts with McDavid and Draisaitl, is that they're the two big guys moving forward. They're the untradables. They're the new hope group, but this time it's just McDray. And two, that he has utter faith in his scouting and player development, that he can move forward with two contracts weighing down $21 million a cap and still expect to make the playoffs.
I mean, in my honest opinion, like, so far from all of his contracts, they've all been like 500 to $1 million, perhaps too much. Would you guys agree?
Yep. No, I don't think we got really a bargain on any contract, except maybe Talbot.
No.
Right now.
Like, the only one where I think it's absolutely 100% this is fair value was the Cassian contract. And the Talbot contract, you could argue, was a good deal too, but honestly, you know, he signed a guy that we had really no idea in terms of how good of an NHL goaltender he could be.
Like
but he turned into an absolute superstar.
Yeah, it was signed at a what if. I mean, he was pretty good after he got traded, but it was by no means, in hindsight, like it was a gamble.
It was a gamble, yeah.
Yep. No.
And even if it was, like, it wasn't, I would say, if you follow any kind of advanced stats with goaltenders, you know that it's not a very risky gamble. And I'm sure that the GMs had absolute confidence in him. But still, at the end of the day, it was a gamble. And that's why the contract looks as good as it does. And that's also why it's not as long as it would have been. James is just heading out here just for a second. Might have something to attend to, so I'll throw it to you, Adam.
Yeah, I don't know. So with the contract, it's kind of an odd thing for Shirley. It seems like his. I'm trying to find his strength for Shirley, and I'm thinking, and it's like okay,
his player. I will 100% say his greatest strength is the fact that he will take any player that is willing to listen to what he's saying and is flexible enough and make them buy into his entire system.
But at the same time, you can have players buy in all you want, but if you're giving at NMCs, NTCs like candy and
he is giving him
overpaying players by $1 million per year when your contract's not increasing that much, and then getting fleeced on trades that you should be winning.
Yeah,
it doesn't seem like a whole lot of benefits going. Okay, yeah, they buy in, but then what?
Yeah,
it's hard to work.
And to add to that too, for example, like if this was a season for us to guarantee to go for it and try to win the whole thing, you don't trade your third highest goal scorer. That while he's being paid $6 million a year, you don't trade him away when you have $8 million in cap space.
It won, and it sounded like from the comments they made at the end of the last season that they were not expecting to win the cup this year. That they wanted to make the playoffs again, they wanted to make a push, but they were not expecting to go to the cup finals. They had said we have a lot of work to do. It was a good start, but we need to go from here.
Mm-hmm.
And so if we're not buying in, then why the hell are we paying so much for these players?
Yeah, exactly. Like, just to give you an idea in terms of how tricky the situation is going to be, Slepyshev is going to need to pay upgrade. Strome, depending on how well he plays, and I really hope preseason is not an indicator in terms of how well Strome is going to play, because he has not looked good in the preseason. Yeah. I really hope that he fits in, and depending on how he plays, he's likely to get a pay upgrade. Most people will say he shouldn't, but based upon how Chiarelli signs his contracts, even if he doesn't play that well and he plays average,
he'll get one.
I still think he's going to get a pay upgrade. Kajula is going to get a big pay upgrade. Pakarainen may not get re-signed. It's unlikely, even if he is an RFA. Fane's gone, obviously. But along with that, there's also Bressois. The fact that we still don't really have, even if you say that Bressois' numbers are good, we don't really have a good backup goaltender. We still haven't addressed. I'm going all over the place right now with my comments just because I'm a little frustrated. We still haven't replaced the hole that is our number 3 defenseman. And now we're planning to put a pairing of 2 relatively defensive defensemen. Both of which have really bad advanced stat numbers, as in they're very prone to getting stuck in their own zone and very bad at transitioning the play forward. And that's what we're going forward with to start the year. Like, if you were like looking for a good deal and trying to make the contract signings and whatnot, why would you go for a trade like going for Strome in a 1-for-1? Why couldn't you give up a pick or something so you could try to get a what's his name again? A Hamonic. Hamonic would have been a backbreaker of a player to have. But instead, of course, he goes to the rivals. But, that's comments for another time. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm just shaking my head right now.
It seems like an odd place to be right now where, we're doing well and the team's improving, but we're also seeing all these flaws coming out of the player. But we're like, okay, so...
Okay,
Sekar went back to 100%. When did he injure his knee? March?
Pardon?
When did the Sekar tear his ACL?
I believe right? March, yeah. So June.
He won't be back to 100% until May, maybe. June, and he's older than I am.
To viewers that are watching or listening, we mean 100%, as in
your knee. Basically, what your knee feels like pre-op is what I mean by 100%. So post-op from ACL surgery takes a full year of recovery before you're back to 100%. He can skate in 6 to 8 months if he gets to go 6 to 8 months if he gets to go ahead from the training staff. But he won't be able to skate as fast as he was. He won't be able to transition as well as he could, skate as well as he could prior to until a year post.
Just so that everyone understands why I'm sort of really frustrated, even though the 8.5 is more than many people expected, why I'm especially frustrated with that contract is the fact you look back at Nugent Hopkins' contract, Taylor Hall's contract, Jordan Eberle's contract. Of those three players, right now we're looking at two of them and going, wow, these guys are overpaid. But we signed them on two things. One, they put up a fairly large number of points. Jordan Eberle, 70. Taylor Hall's a point per game. He was around 70 at that time when he signed the contract. And Nugent Hopkins definitely showed the potential to get up to that point mark if it weren't for the fact that he got injured a few odd times in his first 3 seasons. But that's why we paid that $6 million. And we saw already 2 of them turn into relatively bad contracts for the team for us right now. And not only does Chiarelli see that, trade one away in a really bad trade, he signs one of the players that, you know, as much as he could turn into a very successful player, he signs them on a contract on the basis that he will turn into an extremely successful player. This makes Leon Draisaitl one of the highest average, AAVs in the league, and I have to look it up exactly to figure out what exactly is the highest. But he is one of
McDavid's
the most
highest
expensive players. Pardon?
McDavid's the highest.
No, yeah, I know McDavid's highest. It puts him at around 9th or 10th. Sorry, can you hear that? People yelling downstairs? Hold on, let me close this door. Give me a quick second here.
Yeah, off the top of my head, people with a higher AAV than him are, there's McDavid, obviously, Kane, Taves, Kopitar,
Price,
Ovechkin, Malkin.
Leon Draisaitl's contract, he gets paid as much as Steven Stamkos and Henrik Lundqvist. One 27, the other 35. He's also paid more than Giroux, Getzlaf, Voracek, Kessel, Weber, Nash, Bufflin, Parise, Suter, Spezza, Tarasenko, O'Reilly, Bobrovsky, Ryan, Bobby Ryan.
All right, hold on, stop. Fair enough.
So on, so forth, ad end.
So, if you look at most of those players,
and Johnny Gaudreau, if you want a younger
he's
player.
better than most of those players.
You would consider him better than Getzlaf?
I said most. I didn't say all.
Most. Can't just cherry pick the one that doesn't fit.
True. I'm being unfair here.
Like, yes, he was. Is he overpaid as of right now? Yes. However, if he continues on his current track, which we're hoping he does, but it's, again, a hope, he is better than most of those players on that list.
See, here's the thing. We're paying him to be better than that. We're not paying him on the hope. This contract will be better.
Some of those contracts are also very team-friendly contracts. Tarasenko's contract is a team-friendly contract. Ryan Getzlaf's contract is a team-friendly contract. The fact that we didn't give him a team-friendly contract is pointing to me again to the point where...
Actually, Ryan Getzlaf's contract was one of the highest in the league when it was signed.
Right, so that's become a team-friendly contract. So part of it is, A, that the cap is likely going to increase. B, that, again, these are going to be benchmark contracts for the future, and therefore... we should expect them to be a bit higher. When McDavid signed his contract for 12.5, we knew he was not getting less than 8. That just became a fact. Is that Draisaitl was not going to take $4.5 million less than McDavid. So for what he signed for, yeah, I mean it's not reasonable. It's not unreasonable though. It's basically in the sweet spot of it's uncomfortable, but no, it's not too much, or it's not exorbitant.
Because this put him squarely at tied for 10th in the league as highest paid per year.
Which,
And the only player that I see that's coming up with a new contract that can challenge him for that position is Matthews.
Well,
Matthews.
Jack Eichel might.
And I say Matthew. Oh, Eichel too. Yes, Eichel. Eichel and Matthews. Those are the only 2 players that I see that could challenge him. Because you see other guys like what's his name? He held off on a contract with Boston until he finally signed it, and when he did, he signed for 6.6. Pasternak. Yeah.
You mean Boston?
Yeah. Did I say Boston? I said Buffalo. Oh, sorry. And The contract too that he signed ended up being a full movement clause included,
I
or
mean,
no movement clause. Excuse me.
I could see Matthews getting around 10 if he continues again this year, and then Eichel will probably be up around 9.5 to 10. So Draisaitl won't be as high paid as those two. That's just going to be a thing, which is fine by me. But again, that's like I said, it's going to be benchmark. So because he got paid 8.5, we're going to see more and more contracts for superstars being higher.
Yeah, yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. It's just based upon existing contracts that were there when he signed his contract, such as, for example, a bridge term contract like Kucherov's, or a long term contract like Gaudreau or Kuznetsov.
She has never been a guy to sign bridge contracts for stars, though.
This is a classic situation where you need to not like you need to think creatively. I'll be honest.
Right, but if you have your methods or you think you have your methods that work for you, you want to stay on the
Yeah,
top
but
of the
his
team.
last methods, albeit though it won him a cup, it also got him fired, and he hated by the
By a
team.
guy who's currently
the
running
fans
his
of the
team into
league.
the ground, in fairness.
It's not. That team is definitely. They're not going to be a basement team or a bottom half team,
No, but they're going to be stuck
especially
in
with
limbo.
guys like McAvoy coming in. It's not going to happen.
They're going to be stuck in limbo.
Anyway, James, you held off a little bit on the Draisaitl contract discussion because you had to step out. Do you have anything to add, or do you want us to go on to the next topic?
No, we can move on to the next topic.
Okay. So another controversial topic. We'll keep this one short, just because I think most of us have fairly similar opinions on it. But the Trump, unfortunately, inserted himself into a lot of sports commentary with some tweets about NFL players, and as well as a tweet directed towards. I believe it was Steph Curry, yes, for being not invited again, even though Steph Curry publicly stated that he won't be coming to visit when his team visits at the White House, which is a standing tradition that most NHL, NFL, NBA teams have. The championship winning teams, of course. So, following all of this and the reaction of it, a lot of NFL teams and whatnot came forward, as well as NBA players such as LeBron James, with various comments that basically called out the president or said supporting comments to the NFL players, such as the Steelers opting to stay within the tunnel during the national anthem.
Minus
The
one guy who served for the Marines, yeah.
Pardon?
There was
Minus
a
one guy who stayed for the Marines. Yes, you're right.
Villanueva served with the Marines, so he stood outside and had his hand over his heart.
Yeah, yeah. Along with the Cowboys, mind you, this is a team within the heart of Texas. Stood along with their owner in support of the NFL players' right to protest, along with various other comments. And right in the middle of that, the Penguins made a comment that was extremely neutral, stating that, like always, they've always been going to visit the White House and they will go again. Did you guys have anything to quickly add? I want to keep this short just because it's a fairly straightforward, though complicated, yet relatively straightforward topic. Do you guys have anything to add or to comment on it?
For me, it's like I get both sides of it, to be honest with you. I mean, I dislike
back at him. Thank you.
I dislike Trump, but at the same time, I think that a lot of celebrities and athletes have a tendency to
overreact,
talk about things that they really have no fucking idea about. And if Crosby is saying, "Okay, we're going to go," as is tradition, I can respect that.
As it currently stands, nearly the entire team minus a small handful is now going, following both the team as well as Crosby's comments.
Yeah.
on the matter.
I'm okay with it, honestly. I mean,
Hmm.
I get why people wouldn't go, but at the same time, if he wants to remain as neutral as possible, which somehow politicized it even more.
It did,
Um,
yeah. In contrast to the other league's comments, it politicized it even
yeah,
worse
I
and
know.
made a simple PR and straightforward PR move into an absolute disaster for the
There's
league.
no straightforward.
People will forget about it in a couple weeks.
Oh, but the pictures will never be forgotten. That's the one thing.
Yeah, well,
We still have
people will
pictures of
forget. People will move on.
I
on some level, yeah,
I mean,
right?
yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as James here. Like, I get it. Um, I don't mind the NFL protests because it's justified. Trump is a blatant bigot and racist, and he's like, oh, you should be fired for protesting it. It's like they're not protesting the anthem; they're protesting
Hmm.
how they're being treated. It's not. That's their way of doing it because you can't protest in the middle of a game without either costing your team a penalty or being fined and all that jazz. So it's easier for them to do it during the national anthem because it gains more notoriety. At the same
Hmm.
time,
And it's not an intrusive protest either. It's simply
yeah, they're
kneeling,
not
which is
throwing shit
protected
at
within
fans.
their First Amendment to do so.
So I mean, stating that they can't protest is a joke. That at the same
Yeah.
time, I get why Crosby's saying they're going to the White House. It's more about the fact that they've always done it than about the sitting president. A lot of people didn't like Bush. They still went to the White House because it was the thing to do.
Yeah.
Now, if I was on the Penguins and I won the cup and would I go? Maybe not, but that's my own opinion. I'm not going to make a protest about it. And I think that's what is lacking here is the fact that those people that aren't going out and saying about it. They're just not going. And I think that in itself is a statement rather than
Yeah.
publicizing.
Mhm.
So just for people that don't know, Crosby said publicly that he supports the team's decision. He said it's a great honor for us to be invited there. He said he's aware of what's going on and people have the right not to go. Nobody's saying they have to go. As a group, we decided to go, and there's really hasn't been a lot of discussion about it.
That's honestly the most neutral statement you can make in a very Crosby-like way.
Not really.
Well, I mean, what else could you say?
Okay, here's what I would have imagined would have been the best possible move. One, you wait. You don't need to make the comments right now. Like you could have waited for things to cool down a little because you guys would agree that right now things have relatively cooled compared to last week because with this
Not really.
administration,
It's gonna get worse tomorrow.
no, with this administration, it always moves on to something new, and now it's already on something new with the
Tomorrow's Sunday. It's gonna
resignation.
come back again tomorrow. I can guarantee it.
Oh yeah,
I was going to
absolutely.
say every
But
NFL
what I'm
week is
saying
gonna
is,
finish.
you didn't need to make the comment last week on
I
Sunday.
think they did because as a sports franchise, with what happened with the Steelers last week, they needed to make a statement. That's the problem we're missing here. Is that
And they made themselves look horrible.
they still look better than the Steelers.
No, the
There were
Steelers look
people
pretty good.
burning.
Right
There were
now.
people burning Steelers jerseys.
Oh yeah, they can burn Steelers
But,
jerseys all they
but what I'm
want.
saying is the Penguins came off better in terms
I
of
believe
Pittsburgh.
Steelers jerseys had the highest level of sales in the last week too.
Villanueva's jerseys increased in sales because he stood outside for the national anthem.
Oh right, right.
And
That
then
was
he
the
came out.
reason.
Then he came out with a statement saying it was a mistake for me to be outside. I abandoned my team. But they all understood why he was out there. It's just like the problem for me right now is now it's disrupting team functions.
Nah.
Uh,
See, here's what I would have preferred. At least a comment into the fact that players themselves have a right to protest. At least a comment talking about the fact
that's
that
taking a side.
no, it's not the
It
fact
is.
that you're taking. What does it matter, Adam? Everything about this is goddamn political.
But that's what I'm saying is that
We're
Crosby
singing the anthem. It's political.
Crosby's
Crosby
statement
makes
was
a
the
statement.
most-
It's political.
Crosby's statement was
There's
the most
always
neutral
going
you
to
can
be a
make.
side.
Crosby's
You
statement
could have
was
at
the most neutral you
least
can
made a comment about the fact that, they support the players' decisions individually to go. However, as an organization, they believe that the players have a right to protest if they feel the need to protest.
Is that not what they said?
No. They said, ultimately, they did say that it's to the players individually, but No comments on the other regard. And when you add in the fact that the team said it and then the captain said it, who isn't going to go at the risk of disrupting the team, as you say?
Well, I mean, Tim Thomas didn't go back when Obama.
Yeah, okay, you can't. Okay,
what I'm saying is that
let's go on to the next topic because okay, so this puts me into a proper mood for the next topic. So the new NHL 18 game is out. I'm the only one, I believe, in this group that has bought the game or played it. So I hope you guys don't mind me hogging a little bit of time for a little bit of a
go
rant.
off on a tangent. I'm actually interested to hear this because I have not even touched it yet.
Yeah, I have no knowledge about it.
Okay. So the last NHL game that I have is NHL 16. NHL 16, you know, for all the problems that it does a lot of things well. It ultimately, you know, has a lot of AI problems, but still the AI function within reasonable limits. You know how they're going to react, and you're able to adjust around it. Yeah, goaltending is a little bit of a weird spot where sometimes it's like, what the hell? How is the other team's goaltender saving everything that I throw at it? That's like a top, like number one save of the decade kind of save. Why did it come out against me right now? Whereas your goaltender can't stop shit. You know, that's sort of the NHL standard. And that exists within NHL 18 as well. Hi, Sweet44722. Thank you for the comment of, hey, guys. Anyway, this game comes along, and instead of addressing the long wait times, the fact that everything is now microtransaction-based, the fact that it's extremely frustrating to play the game, they add in more problems. Now you get players that go off on line changes, and they don't indicate that they're going off on line changes. This is something that already existed within NHL 16, and they don't go about putting it back in NHL 18. As in, I'm not sure what happened exactly with NHL 17 is what I'm trying to say there. So what's going on is it's just extremely frustrating of a game to play. The loading times have gotten longer. The AI has gotten worse. The connectivity issues have gotten worse. I've gotten disconnected from 5 different online games. It's an absolute piece of shit game right now that's out. I 100% recommend, do not buy this game. Do not touch this game. Get NHL 17. Yeah, you can't play online, but you can play with friends. If you want to play franchise mode and that's what you care about, because I know some people really care about franchise mode and they just sim the entire thing. You play, was it Eastside Manager, Adam? Is that what the name is?
Eastside Hockey Manager, yeah.
Eastside Hockey Manager. It's for PC. And it's just an absolute garbage piece of shit game. And you add to the fact that it still hasn't properly gone about, you know, utilizing the Frostbite engine. That's not coming out until the next iteration. The Frostbite engine that started with the release of the Xbox One with EA games, as in Madden already has the system, NBA already has the system. The NHL games for the last 2 iterations have not yet implemented the system, even though it's the latest one. It's just... And you add to the fact that when I bought NHL 16 2 years ago, I got pretty much exactly the same game minus a minor graphical degrade between NHL 18 and 16. And I paid $60 for it. This is $80 for this nonsense. And then you're talking about microtransactions because they don't care much about, you know, making the game great, because I know a ton of people that are fanatical about this game and just play HUT. And they make a lot of money off of HUT, which is Hockey Ultimate Team, which is the card system that, if you know about FIFA or NBA games, or not NBA, sorry, NFL games, you'll know about that.
How's the expansion mode?
Expansion mode is annoying because it'd be nice if they went about implementing some of, like perhaps some of the roster changes that happened just before the expansion mode came in. So what happens is actually they reset the roster to 2017, like end of Stanley Cup 2016, 2017. And then they do the expansion mode draft from there. It's neat, but it's also really annoying because you got to choose a city, then you got to be worried about finances. And it seems as though, in order to add depth to the franchising, or now it's not called BGM mode, it's called franchise mode. What they did is they just added financials, where you can now have an option of relocating and things like that. But it's clunky. I mean, to give you an idea of what frustrates me with the game, simming a season, and I'm talking regular season, takes about an hour and a half,
Oh,
I would say.
fuck, that's bad.
Yeah. What I mean by this, of course, is I'm being engaged in contracts. There's no button that takes you directly to contract screen. You want to advance a day after you sign your contracts. You got to go back to the main menu, advance the date, then go back to contracts through all the convoluted screens in order to get to the list of contracts. And there's no, as far as I know, there's no bypass in this. It's just.
I will say something on the game.
And the draft is absolutely shit. The draft is shit. Like, I draft one player that's a high draft prospective to be an elite fucking defender, and I draft him, and I get him, and it's like, oh, AHL bottom 6 defender. What? Like, what? I don't get it.
I mean, that's
What are you
Griffin Reinhardt,
doing?
essentially.
It's just a total crapshoot. All of it is a total crapshoot.
I will
And you're
say,
paying $80 for 3-on-3 fucking mode and a goddamn franchise mode that makes you super frustrated when you try to play it. Okay, so next topic.
I will say, so how good were the trailers for the game? Like, they were
It's pretty much exactly the same as last year's trailers.
right. The guy that actually makes them, I met him a few months ago. There's two guys.
Snap.
There's two guys.
Right, they're
that
based
work
in
on 'em.
Vancouver, aren't they?
Yeah, there's two guys that work on him. He did the entire NHL 18 trailer by himself.
I lost you. Hello?
All right.
I'm
Hello,
still here.
James?
Yeah, I think it's just Arun having issues.
Oh, sorry.
That guy made the entire NHL 18 trailer by himself, and he was actually complaining about the issues with the bugs beforehand, mentioning that like it seemed like the guys were behind on the development because they couldn't get the they were given the game to them 3 days before they had to release the trailer.
Oh, you're fucking serious?
Yeah,
Jesus.
they're a small team. They don't
Oh,
EA
my
does not
God.
pump a lot of money into NHL because FIFA makes so
Yeah.
much money. Madden makes so much money. Even they don't make MLB games anymore, but they pull so much money out of FIFA and Madden that they don't put
yeah.
anything in NHL. And I get that, but at the same time, it's one of those things where you're in Vancouver, you have a hockey market of 36 million people plus whatever else in the States. And producing
I mean, it's the perfect excuse. It's a perfect excuse at that point in time where you also look at a PC port because that's something that NBA has, 2K has. That's something that does Madden have it? I don't think so.
No.
No. But Madden and FIFA both have it on PC. No, FIFA has PC.
FIFA has PC.
FIFA has PC, and FIFA also is on the Switch, as well as 2K is on the Switch.
FIFA is he also the most popular selling franchise every year?
Oh, of course,
Other than
yeah.
Call
They
of
can't
Duty.
not put it on the PC.
That's the thing, right? It's there's no market for EA to produce this game, mass produce it like in the same scale. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I've also heard that FIFA this year was crap.
Oh, it's absolute crap. Don't buy it.
Like it's
No. FIFA for certain platforms is bad.
for the PS4 I've heard was pretty garbage.
It was pretty garbage. For the Switch, it's pretty garbage, but a lot of that is on Nintendo.
Well, I was gonna say Switch.
And no, the biggest controversy, obviously, this year is 2K18, NBA 2K18. And that's turned into absolute garbage because it's gone super microtransaction heavy. So yeah, that's what's going on in that front.
I will say this is a little off topic before we move on to the next thing is that I've kind of realized how heavy microtransaction based EA's made their games because I bought PGA Tour 13. I hadn't really I thought about it with the NHL games. I own NHL 14, and it's one of those games that there's some in there. I bought Madden 25, and has some of those in there, but I never realized how heavy it was until I went into PJ Tour, and to even get unlock courses, you can either play through the game and get unlock a fuck ton of these coins, or buy them. Just to play like more than 5 courses they have available when you buy the game.
Okay.
Whereas in the other games, everything was available. Anyway, moving on.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
I want to quickly add to this. The top 10 selling games this season, of them, I'll just go through really quickly. Which ones have microtransactions? MLB The Show 17 does. Call of Duty Infinite Warfare does. It's loot boxes. NBA 2K18 does. Or 2K18 or 17, I forget which one. It has online microtransactions. GTA 5 has online microtransactions where you can buy shark currency. Resident Evil 7 doesn't. Breath of the Wild doesn't, fortunately. For Honor does with loot crates. Wild. What else is there?
Anyway.
Destiny 2 does with some currency values in order to buy some shaders, along with some other things. And I believe the last one that does, that's frustrating people, is the new Shadow of War games. Likely will too. So this is something to watch out for. A lot of microtransactions probably going to be permanent thing for full AAA value, $80 to now $100 games.
I think you and I should probably talk about this some other time, because now we're actually cutting into the podcast a little bit.
Yeah. That's why I sort of wanted to go forward. But okay, so last 2 topics now. First one, preseason and training camp. I'll give it to James because he's had to hear us rant. General thoughts so far about everything. Today is the last preseason game.
I went to one preseason game when Vancouver was here. Vancouver iced pretty much an AHL squad. Like, there was no one playing from their team. We had our second line of forwards playing, so Lucic, Draisaitl, and Kajula. But other than that, there was like no forwards playing. Yamamoto was playing. Boursois was in net. Clefbaum and Larson were playing, but that was pretty much it. Like, Yamamoto stood out big time. Draisaitl stood out big time. But again, this is like against AHL quality competition, so it's really hard to tell. But the kind of the storyline that everyone's been following over the last couple of weeks is Yamamoto and whether or not he's going to make the team. Will he stick around for 9 games? Will he stick around for more than that? Is he pushing Jesse Puljujarvi out of an NHL job? It's an uncomfortable thing to ask, but it's everyone's thinking it. So, I mean, I think Yamamoto, he's earned that 9 games at least. So, and Puljujarvi probably should start in the minors, in my opinion.
Yeah. So, is there anyone else, in your opinion, that's also stood out, perhaps in the other games, or looked really bad in the other games? For example, Boursois shut out the
pissed me off on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Kajula, I don't know. It might just be like beginning of season fitness, but he looked really slow, took some stupid penalties. Just didn't look like a very smart player. Yeah, I know.
He did it in last year's playoffs too, but we sort of overlooked it.
Yeah, no, I didn't notice too much because, I mean, most of the players that we had playing that night, it's like I recognize already that most of you won't make the team. Lucic, Draisaitl, they're both going at like 75%. They weren't going all out. So
I was a little impressed with Lucic's speed bursts the other night. He had a couple,
I hope he doesn't burn himself out.
He looks quicker to start the season, which
he's had a
blast last year.
Yeah,
Lucic is turning 30 or is 30. He's turning 30 this season.
Yeah, he's turning 30. Yeah. It's crazy.
James, what do you make of Dylan Simpson?
Definitely AHL.
Didn't he get sent down already?
He did, but it was kind of one of those interesting things where it's like, well, he could have probably stayed on longer because they kept Mark Fane up instead.
I think that they're showcasing Mark Fane for a trade or something. Like, that's the only thing that I can think of.
I also think they're comparing him with V2 and some of the others, number 7 defensemen, to figure out who is most capable of taking bottom 6 minutes while Sekera is injured. I think that's what's going on right now. So likely Fane has lost it and is being set down because he had a pretty average outing. Just give me a second. I'll throw it back to you, James.
What would you say about Kara then?
Jeez. I think that the team's going to give Kara every opportunity to make the team. I think that he has to show more offense overall, but I think that he'll start on the team. Fourth line of Kara, Letestu, and Cassian. I don't know. That probably makes the most sense to me.
Yeah.
13th forward, either Yamamoto or no, it wouldn't be Yamamoto. It'd be Pakarainen, maybe.
We have too many forwards. I'm going to be honest with it. We have too many forwards.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
not enough defensemen either. So.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a good problem to have.
That's the other end of the problem. We have a lot of forward depth, but our defensive depth, like Klefbom played 82 games in a season for the first time in his career last year. And if he goes down for an extended period of time this season, we are done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you can say that about any team's top defenseman, though. Really.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But the thing is, this is also a team's top defenseman where the first time in his career he plays 82 games to make the playoffs.
Except when Pittsburgh won the cup without Letang.
Letang, yeah. He's absolutely the number one defenseman, too.
Yeah. I mean, it's an interesting... Well, because Caleb Jones is still up, is he not?
No, I don't think so. I think he was sent down with the last round of cuts. He survived one round more than Ethan Bear, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jones surprised me a little bit because we heard so much about how good Bear was and how much Bear has improved and he's just been this dominating force. And Caleb Jones came in and played very well.
He did, yeah.
So, he did, but he's definitely going to be an AHL
absolutely.
Player for this season. Unfortunately, with the departure of Griffin Reinhart, has been turned into a blessing in disguise because now it's going to guarantee him more minutes in the AHL, which is great for his development. On that topic, just really quick question to ask you guys: how good do you think our development is right now?
I think it has potential to be really good, but
not individual player, like our development structure right now. Is what I mean.
We're certainly better than we were 10 years ago when we just rushed people.
Yeah, even 5 years ago, man. Like 5 years ago, the 2012 draft, we drafted fucking Mitch Moroz in the second round. Like, it's the team has changed big time.
He did look good, sort of good, but he
was an Oil King. That's why they drafted him.
I know, it's true. They got a little bit of a sucker of a heart for Oil Kings.
Yeah.
Okay, so Adam, who is your standout player and who is your could be better player?
I mean, clearly the standout is Yamamoto. I don't think anyone's going to dispute that. He's either tied for first or second in the league in scoring in preseason right now. Which, yeah, it's preseason, but at the same time, he's 18. He's like 140 pounds. He's basically my size, which I can't imagine my size playing in the NHL and putting up that many points.
He's bigger than me.
He's proving to be that forward, the tenacious, scrappy, impressive forward that we all wanted, and he's gonna get his 9 games. At least I hope he does, and then send him back to the WHL. He's not ready to make the NHL yet.
Okay.
And then I mean, you go look at a couple guys. Kara's been passable for me, but I thought he would impress more. Especially for someone who's pushing for a 4th line spot. In preseason camp, I guess, you can talk about a few guys. I'm trying to think of defensemen we sent down. Ethan Bear was good, but he's also a rookie, so I'm not really, he's a kid, so I'm not really going to give him much trouble.
Ryan Mantha? No, never mind.
Ryan Mantha was okay. I don't know if
he was okay. Yeah.
No one really shocked me with how bad they are. It's been more NHL players I expected to be better. Kajula's been very okay at best. Ryan Strom's been miserable.
It's been pretty bad.
Ryan Strom's been miserable. That's my. It's like you.
He has not looked good with the team so far. He was practically gifted a spot on the first line, but he was put into the second line and slowly just tested on. But now he's effectively put himself into the third to fourth line.
We traded a $6 million perpetual 55 to 65 point player who can play.
I'd say 50 to 60 point player. Let's be frank here.
No, he's been a he's like in every season.
Oh, yeah. You're right. If you're talking about NHL career average,
yeah, absolutely. Right. So not every season. So we traded him for that. We expected to get less production, but not no production. And
a freedom in cap space, of course. Yeah.
Strom's gotten some chances, but it's more boneheaded plays, bad turnovers, poor passes, out of positions, slower than he needs to be.
I mean, he effectively had a fantastic position for himself, but there is a reason that he fell out of favor for the Islanders. Like, this is turning into a theme where we take the Islanders' used goods, and hopefully this doesn't turn into a consistent theme for the second half where they get picked up by, this time, Seattle.
Shirley needs to stop trading with fucking...
Snow. Please don't trade with Gord Snow again, please. Okay, so for my players, I do need to leave in about 3 minutes. Sorry about this. So players that have looked good, I was relatively happy with Lucic, although always for him it's been more of a consistency problem for me. I 100% love Yamamoto. This is the big reason why I was a huge proponent for. I remember in our chat during the draft, I was going, draft Yamamoto. Like, this is mandatory. We need to draft this guy. He's, 5'8", 154 pounds. At the time of drafting, he was 140s. He was in his 140s for weight. People were going, no, we need to stick to larger players, but definitely he's been one of the better players in the preseason. Obviously, preseason is preseason. But, this bodes well for not this season, but next season as a guy that can come in and play a right wing. But it's also not looked that great for Strome. That's one standout for me. And the fact that Clefbaum hasn't looked great so far in the preseason, it does concern me a bit. Perhaps not that much, but holy shit, Clefbaum's younger than I am. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not that concerning, but I really do hope that he brings it to start the season, especially when we're without our number 3 defenseman. And last but not least, I really hope that Patrick Russell doesn't stick with the team because he still is on that PTO. Really hope that doesn't turn into our number 13 forward.
It's got to be Pakarinen.
It's got to be.
Yeah. Pakarinen is definitely the most serviceable forward because, albeit he doesn't score the goals when he's on the first line, but he definitely brings it. Like, he's like Kajula in with McDavid in that Anaheim series, right? That's the way he plays, in my opinion. And honestly, if he wasn't injured, he would have been equally as good as Kajula was in that series. Okay, so that pretty much is the end of our podcast.
We gotta go to James first real quick.
For what?
Oh, James.
Did you not name your players already?
No, he did.
I started.
I asked him first.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, unfortunately, Matt Lietz, hate you too, baby, but we gotta end the podcast pretty much right away. So this has been myself. Do you guys have anything like final concluding comments at all to add, or should I fine with me just wrapping up here?
I think we'll be back in probably. I'm gonna guess we'll probably be back in a couple of weeks. I'll be home in Ottawa fairly soon, but still be going here.
Cool. Anyway, this has been Arithmetic 5. Along with me has been Shreed44722, otherwise known as oh, you're the guy from Reddit. Oh, hey Matt, how's it going? By the way, I linked you guys a Facebook thread, or not Facebook thread, Reddit thread on Facebook about the guy that was interested in our podcast and watched a few. He's our listener in the chat right now, so shout out to you, Matt. Hopefully you enjoyed the rebroadcast of the stream. We went off on a lovely tangent with video game industry and with Trump, so that should be a fantastic podcast to watch. And along with me today has been James, otherwise known as Paul-McCartney-. But that's been it from us. Please do like, comment, subscribe. And we will see you in likely 2 weeks' time. Hope you guys enjoy the preseason game tonight, and the home opener in just a week, basically. Damn.
Less than.
See ya.
See you guys later.